It's Satch again, the founder of ROCKJAW, and today we're going to be discussing optimal chewing methods. So let's get started. Now, the first thing we want to ensure is to have good posture. What is meant by good posture in this scenario? Well, that is sitting or standing tall with your shoulders back at head level. So let me demonstrate the correct way to chew this gum according to the good posture principle. Okay, so in this case, I'll be standing tall with my shoulders back, head level, and now what does this mean? Well, good alignment helps with better muscle activation, which means you'd get the best results. Now allow me to demonstrate this versus having a poor posture. So this is me from the side view, chewing with good posture. I'm keeping my neck neutral, looking straight forward with my shoulders back. You can see activation as I chew. Now allow me to demonstrate with a poor posture. You can see this is so much more recessed, so I'm not able to get the same chewing motion as I am when my shoulders are pinned back and my neck is neutral. Okay, but before we get chewing, it's very important that we follow a good warm-up protocol. Now, this doesn't have to be something robust. We can simply start by chewing 1 to 2 minutes of light chewing, which basically means we slowly ease our way into the chewing motion. The reason why this is important is because it helps to promote blood flow to the masseters, just like any other muscle at the gym. You start off with a lighter weight, warm the muscle up, get the blood flowing to this area so you can get the optimal workout. And gradually you start to increase the weight until you reach your operating weight. Now, this prep is vital for longer hours of chewing. So if you're more of an advanced chewer and you're chewing for a couple of hours a day, it would be very beneficial to follow a good warm-up protocol. Now, another thing is that we can do a masseter release massage. So this mitigates the risk of getting injured. So I'm going to demonstrate how you can perform a masseter release massage at home. So how we're going to perform this massage is we're going to take our middle knuckles, slot it beneath the cheekbone, and we're going to apply medium amounts of force below the cheekbones and slowly bring this down. And now we're going to take 2 fingers, slot it in the same area and just rub clockwise, just right near the ear area. And then we're going to repeat the same process backwards. Now, a lot of the times, if you do have a lot of tension in the masseter area, you'll start to find little knots and areas that feel much tighter than others. So we want to work through this, gently moving our way down as well. So we're covering the entire masseter muscle. So try this out. Now, if you feel a lot better after doing this massage, you probably do have tighter masseter muscles. So incorporating this massage every now and then, or whenever you feel tightness in your masseters, can really help to get the best results. So it's well worth integrating this into your warm-up routine. Okay, so let's talk about the way we chew. First things first, we need to ensure that we're chewing slowly and in a controlled manner. Now, why is this important? Because it simply allows proper masseter muscle activation when we chew. So do not rush with chewing. Chew with intention, slowly, fully opening and closing your jaw each time you chew. This also prevents injury, so it's vital that you take your time with chewing. Again, allow me to demonstrate with a piece of chewing gum, but let's combine good posture with slow and controlled reps. Okay, so now my posture is pretty neutral. Let's move on to slow, controlled reps. As you can see, I'm chewing very slowly with intention, ensuring that I'm getting full range of motion whilst I'm chewing. I'm not chewing too fast. I'm taking my time with this process. And you should be able to see the masseter muscles being activated. Okay, so let's now talk about training evenly. Now, this is essential for maintaining facial symmetry. So it's important that you switch sides after completing the same amount of reps and sets on each side. So for example, if I perform 4 sets and 10 reps on my left side of the jaw, I now have to replicate the exact same on the other side to maintain facial harmony. This allows for balance training, as we spoke about, prevents facial asymmetry. Now, a good way to get started if you're new to this is by following the free starter training program. This is available on our website, or it may be included as a physical copy in your order. We do emphasize the importance of reps and sets in this, very similar to the way a gym workout routine would be. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this promotes facial harmony, preventing asymmetry, therefore you'll get the best results possible. Now the next thing we'll discuss briefly ties in with training evenly, and that is having structure and tracking your performance. So what do I mean by tracking? Let's refer back to the starter training program. If you're following this program for 30 days, you have a blueprint to follow. You know your progress, you know where you're going, you know your direction. And let's say, for example, after 30 days, you start to notice, hold on, I'm not getting the same engagement as I did when I first started this program. So what does that tell us? Well, let's take bicep curls as an example and tie it in with this chewing gum. Okay, so let's say after 30 days of lifting 5 kilogram dumbbells at the gym, my muscles are all of a sudden not feeling the same engagement. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that our biceps are getting stronger. So what do we naturally do after we see that our biceps are getting stronger? Number 1, we either increase the volume, or 2, we increase the weight. Now in this principle, we would either add another piece of chewing gum, which I wouldn't recommend unless you are very far into your journey of chewing, but I would recommend increasing the volume, the number of sets in this instance, and also the number of reps. So after this, we can start to add more reps, more sets, and so we start to see linear and trackable gains. Now, this is why I emphasized in the previous video that keeping a progress log and a journal is very helpful and beneficial for your journey, because we can see past data to predict what things need to be changed and also the trajectory of our journey. This allows margin for making changes. So if, let's say, for example, the starter training program no longer works for you, well, we can start to amend this, add more reps, add more sets in to optimize this protocol. So for beginners, I would recommend chewing 15 to 30 minutes a day, 1 to 2 times daily. 2 times I would usually recommend for people that have been chewing the product for a while. So if you're beginning out for the first time, I would recommend just sticking with just once a day. Now, structure enables us to have a consistent pattern, which means we will be getting the best results. Okay, so let's talk about the final chapter in this, and that is recovery and consistency. So what do we mean by recovery? So first things first, it's very important to see where results come from. Let's take the gym principle again and incorporate it in this section. If we go to the gym 5 days a week, train our biceps every single day for 4 hours, what can we expect to happen? Well, the first thing is the biceps would be extremely fatigued, meaning they'll be overworked from having 4 hours a day of training the same muscle group 5 days a week. So what does that mean? We're not going to have ample recovery. This means the muscles will never have the chance to grow. And the same principle applies with the masseter muscles. It's very important that we have great recovery. So let's talk about the EORR method, and that is engagement, overload, recovery, and repeat. So when we talk about engagement, that is using the gum consistently and following the previously discussed procedures that enable good chewing habits. So that's engagement. This includes everything with the chewing mechanism, chewing the right amount of time, having good structure, and being consistent. The next thing is overload. So now this is where we start to gain. The trajectory upwards requires overloading, just like at the gym. When you see a plateau, you make changes. You either increase the weight, you have some time to rest, or you increase the volume. And slowly but surely, you'll find a way out of this plateau. The same principle applies with this chewing gum. We want to test things, we want to keep a journal, keep a progress log, so we can see and assess the data to make future changes. The next thing is ample recovery. Like I spoke about before with the bicep example, if we're not having adequate recovery, we will not see the results that we want to. So this means having rest days, incorporating them when you need them. As soon as you feel soreness, it's your body's sign of telling you, okay, whoa, hold back. I need some time off. So note that, write down when you take your rest days, track your progress. And the next thing is having good hydration and adequate nutrition. Hydration is very simple, electrolytes, drinking enough water, but this is not the main factor. Another big thing to consider is protein intake. Again, back to the biceps. 5 days a week, 4 hours of training, and we're not having ample protein. And what does this mean? We're not going to recover the muscles because we do not have the building blocks required to allow this. Again, the same thing with your masseter muscles. They are muscles, so make sure you're having ample protein to enable the recovery process. And that's it for today's video of optimal chewing. I'll see you in the next one.